Part 73. Three Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 723. Lu Feng just told the truth, which already surprised Song Zhezong. I don't a Euro trademark T know that General Lu is so powerful that he can make these two powerful generals under your command. It seems that Lu Jiangjun is also a very strong person. Just kidding, I'm just an ordinary person, nothing special. General Lu must be very talented, otherwise, these two fierce generals would not be willing to follow you. We in the Song dynasty are really lucky to have a talent like you. I also hope that General Lu can stay and serve our Song dynasty. Wouldn't it be wonderful? Song Zhezong thought for a while, it would be better to say it directly. Even if every soldier cannot become very strong, having these two under Lu Feng's hands is already very good. But what he didn't expect was, Lu Feng refused without even thinking about it. Your Majesty, forget it. My purpose is very simple, as long as I can quell the wars in the surrounding countries. I don't like fame and fortune in officialdom. It's not my character to stay in the palace. Instead of doing this, it would be better for me to walk around in a leisurely way, which is rare for me to feel at ease. Since Lu Feng has already said this, Song Zhezong can't continue to say it. These so-called hermit masters are very aloof. He is afraid that if he continues to say it, he may make the other party unhappy. Once the other party left, there was no way to leave everything here. Lu Feng actually didn't like Song Zhezong coming here to inspect. After all, he did nothing after coming here and had a lot of people to bow to him. It really disrupted the rhythm of training. But because he was in this world and it was impossible to be disrespectful to the emperor, he could only make some insinuations to get Song Zhezong to leave here quickly. After watching Song Zhezong leave, Lu Feng finally felt at ease. Come down. Return to the training ground and see that after 1 or 2 months of training, everyone has almost mastered the skills, so they gathered everyone back together and prepared to test everyone's training results. Immediately the 3-month deadline is coming soon. Before that, I want to conduct a ranking to see how the soldiers are doing now. After the results are obtained, I will use the last little time to strengthen training. After this period through the training, the physical fitness of the soldiers has been greatly improved. In fact, this is like the recruit camp in a modern military camp, except that the time is shorter in the morning. Fortunately, you are a soldier yourself, no matter how bad you are, you can still have some. The foundation is there, so the training does not have to start from scratch. Relatively speaking, the speed is relatively fast. When all the soldiers were summoned by General Kui, Lu Feng looked at the changes in everyone in the past 2 months and felt that it's gotten a lot better. Everyone, a competition will be held in the next few days. The main purpose is to withdraw everyone a Euro trademark's training results during this period. At that time, there will be a ranking. People with higher rankings can become captains. In future battles, everything must be based on the team as a unit. The team members obey the orders of the captain, and the captain obeys the orders of General Kui. Yes. When everyone shouted in unison, it was obvious that everyone's voices were louder and more confident. Three Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 724. Under the command of General Kui, all members began to test the training results. The test is divided into 6 major items, which are used to judge the final scoring results through the major items of offense, defense, speed, reaction ability, psychological quality, and mental endurance. This scoring system is Lu Feng's original creation and is tailor-made by combining some modern scientific measurement systems. It can digitize the soldiers' physical indicators and clearly see where they are deficient. Through this, the test results can also bring out the strengths of each person. There were so many people testing that one day was definitely not enough, so for almost 3 days, everyone was busy with testing. Lu Feng, Zhao Yun, and Dian Wei became test officers. Each person was responsible for two major projects. On average, one major project took about 1.5 days, so that all tests could be completed in 3 days. Everyone lined up in an orderly manner and the test went very smoothly. The full score for each test is 100 points, and then the ranking will be based on the final accumulated scores. Considering that in the next battle situation, many groups need to be assigned tasks, so the conservative ranking is based on the top 50. These 50 people can as the team leader. Then select some soldiers with excellent individual abilities, lead them to form some task forces, and use modern fighting methods to confront the enemy. Because he had already understood the situation of the surrounding countries, Lu Feng had already thought of countermeasures, adopted different methods for different countries, and implemented them according to the original plan. Soon, 3 days passed like this, and the soldier's ability test was also completed. Looking at a lot of test results, Lu Feng suddenly lamented why he did not have the ability to process big data. If all these data were put into modern times, it would definitely be possible to process all the data in a few seconds. But now, it is estimated that it will take a lot of time. The 3-month deadline came quickly, and there were only the last 15 days left. Lu Feng estimated that it would take at least 2 days to process so much data. After taking a look at the current time, Lu Feng shook his head helplessly and could only seize the time to continue working. 2 days later, all the data has been analyzed. In order to win this battle, Lu Feng, you need to ensure the accuracy of the data. After these results were finally obtained, those with outstanding achievements were finally singled out. Those who should become captains became captains, and those who should be members of the special service team were immediately assigned. The time to arrange the members is very short and can be completed that night, so when the next day comes, the soldiers' training comes again, but this time there is a clearer goal and training direction. Ordinary soldiers are definitely still on the battlefield. As for the members of the task force, they are divided into 3 basic models: assassination, spy, and spy. Through these relatively special abilities, the most simple and convenient way to disintegrate the power of the surrounding countries is the best and most effective way. If you just blindly fight against others on the battlefield, the losses will be relatively huge. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. 3 Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 725. Although these Song soldiers had heard of Lu Feng's training method for the first time, no one stood up and said no. No matter what Lu Feng asked them to do, they didn't say anything. The 2 groups of secret agents and special agents in the task force will be put on the front line by Lu Feng for training, allowing them to keep an eye on the dynamics of various countries for 12 hours. A brief written report must be written and handed over to Lu Feng every day, and those who are discovered are destined to die. The members of the task force can be said to live in dire straits every day. But Lu Feng knew clearly that only through continuous actual combat training every day could he train truly useful and strong soldiers. These Song soldiers themselves are too weak, and their actual combat experience is even pitiful. They can't even get out of a normal person who can spy on the military situation, let alone a fight, which will be even worse. Your Majesty, young master, the latest military information is that the Khitan has sent a team of less than 20 people, and it seems that they want to come to us to spy on information. Dian Wei finished his training at the other end and came back and whispered into Lu Feng's ear. It's hard to say who has the upper hand in intelligence. Lu Feng told Dian Wei not to be happy yet. In the intelligence war, it is hard to say whether the opponent's people or his own people have the upper hand. This should be our task force. The spy team arranged by young master did not seem to make the other party aware of their existence. The Khitan people are still on their way. Dian Wei made a guess. Since the other party is still on the normal road, he didn't realize that his whereabouts had actually been discovered. Maybe he is actually slightly better in this intelligence war. Oh? Is it true that the kitten people are not taking advantage of their tactics? Lu Feng is very cautious and will not take action rashly. What he is most worried about now is that this team cannot be a spy at all. If it is discovered early, then even if the kitten people use their tricks, you will not be able to trace them. Ah! Why don't you lead a privileged team responsible for assassinations? As long as I'm here, nothing will happen to the task force. If the kitten team has other motives, I can take care of him. Dian Wei thought about it and decided that it would be better to be cautious. It would be better to let him lead a team out alone. This is also the safest way and can solve the kitten people's problem no matter what. This is a good idea. You take the assassination team there, but don't pay too much attention to them. Remember, you take them there for training, not as bodyguards. If they can't deal with this team of less than 20 people, there is no need to come back. After training for so long, we can't even defeat a team of 20 people. Isn't this a waste of time? A bunch of losers. Yes, I will obey the prince's will. Dian Wei bowed his hands, received the order and stepped back. He handed over the other unfinished matters to Zhao Yun, and then set off with the assassination team of the task force. Zhao Yun didn't know a word about Dian Wei's whereabouts. No need to ask, as long as it is something done by one's brother, there is no need to ask, it must be His Majesty's intention. Only General Kui, who was confused by Dian Wei's hurried departure, was about to step forward to ask what happened, but Zhao Yun stopped him. His eyes stared back, and he was so frightened that he never dared to mention the matter again. Even the people around him were not allowed to ask. 3 Kingdoms, I have a job transfer palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 726. Zhao Yun didn't want to talk nonsense with General Kui and asked him to keep what he saw today in his stomach and not let it out. Then he left and continued to train troops. It took 3 months to train these weak Song soldiers into a human being, but it was a very difficult thing, and only Lu Feng, who understood science, could do it. General Zhao has orders, and no general dares to disobey them. General Kui trembled all over. He felt the murderous intent from Zhao Yun and nodded in agreement. He was afraid that if he said anything slower, he would be killed by a knife. At the same time, he sighed in his heart, is this the murderous intent of a top master? It seems that it has condensed into substance and has been placed on my neck. Even if I have killed so many enemy soldiers over the years, I still dare not compare with him. From then on, General Kui no longer dared to ask about the arrangements of Dian Wei and Zhao Yun. He knew that he was not at the level to understand the details. He no longer dared to report secretly to Song Zhezong. Obscuration always takes the initiative to conceal some key information, just to prevent him from exposing his secret agent mission one day in the future, being chased by Dian Wei or Zhao Yun, and ending up with his body and head missing. On the other side, Dian Wei has already led someone. When we arrived at the inn where the kitten people rested, it was the only inn within 10 miles. They rested here and fed their horses with food and grass. If you miss this place, you might not be able to find a place to rest for days and nights. Dian Wei also expected this. The group of people must rest here and lead an assassination team to ambush here. Even the staff of the inn were all replaced by their own people. When the kitten people arrived, they did not notice anything unusual. The scientifically trained Song soldiers, Yi's ability is very strong and he can act like anything. In terms of strength, he has surpassed the veteran kitten people. Boss, where are we now, and how long will it take before we meet up with the young master and the others? Why are you in a hurry? The young master is out on business and must be busy. Let's just remember to meet up. As soon as the kitten people arrived at the inn, some people couldn't control their temper and asked the leader how long it would take to reach their destination. They still used the secret code they had agreed on long ago. They all communicated with each other about the so-called young masters and merchants. Password: I thought that this inn was full of ordinary people, and I couldn't Euro trademark T understand what they said. In fact, the people in the assassination team had written down everything they just said, and they would think about what these words meant when they got back. Hey, waiter, bring 2 pots of tea and 2 pounds of beef for my brothers. As soon as the leader of the kitten team sat down, he started shouting for food. Fortunately, we are in the Song dynasty now, otherwise even if we turned the entire inn over, we wouldn't be able to find half a piece of beef. Okay, be objective, wait a minute, Lita Euro trademark S get ready. The brothers of the assassination team knew the password and started working in the kitchen in the backyard. They were also professionally trained in using poison. Soon, they prepared the poison, and they only ate beef. Special poisons that can cause poisoning can only be poisoned by drinking tea and eating beef. This avoids the problem of the kitten people exposing themselves after checking whether the meat is poisonous. Boss, can't we drink? Drinking tea is not enjoyable enough. The kitten people sitting outside had another objection. They were very dissatisfied about why it was so difficult to come out. They couldn't even drink wine. It was too painful for the kitten people. 3 Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author: Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 727. The leader of the kitten people is also very helpless about this matter. He is also a native of Kitten. Of course, he also loves drinking very much, but the current situation is special and he cannot drink. We have to be on the road now. If we drink, a lot of things will be delayed on the road, and drinking can easily make you dizzy. If you get dizzy, what will you do? If you are punished by the master after you go back, I will not protect you. The leader of the kitten people was afraid that his brothers would drink too much and delay the business, so he did not allow anyone to drink. Unfortunately, his brothers did not understand the deep meaning, but they just felt that their leader did not drink alcohol. It was very humane, but after his explanation, I could barely accept it. The brothers could only complain slightly, but in the end they said nothing and quietly waited for the waiter to bring the dishes and tea. Don't worry, the tea and meat are hot, wait for them to cool down before eating. As soon as the people of the assassination team brought the things, the kitten people were a little impatient, but before they could do anything, their leader stopped them. This leader is a person who knows very well what it means to be cautious, so he is cautious at all times. He will not easily fall into other people's traps. Even at this point, he is still watching the people at the inn warily. This sentence is also a reminder to his brothers not to eat food given by outsiders without checking it. If not because of this operation, they needed to run all the way from Kitten to the territory of the Song dynasty, and they would not bring enough dry food with them, so they took out things at the post station. The dry food that each of them can bring is limited, even if the horse needs to eat food and grass can be solved on the roadside, but the human problem cannot be solved well, so now they can only eat food at the inn to replenish it. However, the leader of the kitten people is very cautious, which makes the assassination team very cautious now. Uneasy, fearing that the poison I made would be discovered by the other party. Eat a Euro trademark S almost done now, feel free to eat. I don't know how the kitten people checked whether these things were poisonous. They just touched their hands over the plate and decided to eat it after touching it casually. Maybe they hid the method of inspection in their own hands. Didn't the assassination team see it? Dion Wei was observing in secret and had confirmed that there was no backup around them, only their team, and the strongest person was the leader of the kitten people, but this leader of the kitten people was not a threat to Dion Wei. As long as Dion Wei is willing, he can kill this leader with one move. In terms of strength, the kitten people are stronger. Compared with the newly trained Song soldiers, they are physically weaker, and the kitten people have been on the battlefield for a long time. Even the experience is richer. This time, if the assassination team wants to defeat these kittens, they will probably have to waste their brains. If the opponent does not take the poison, they will have to fight head-on. Fortunately, these kittens are not no one was eating, and half of them had started eating beef. When they choked on the beef, they drank the tea. Tea and beef are both poisonous. Only when they are combined can they exert their effects, so just examining one of them will not detect the presence of poison in their food. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Three Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 728. It takes a quarter of an hour for these poisons to take effect, so it is very difficult to say when the kittens will fall. But if they leave immediately after eating all the food, they will only fall down on the road, and the assassination team must follow them all the time. But these people plan to take a short rest in the inn after eating. The assassination team did not need to follow them. They could just pull out the weapons that had been prepared in the inn and attack them hard. But even if the kittens ate poison, only half of them have been poisoned so far, and half of them are safe and sound. The assassination team has only 18 people in total. It is difficult to say who will lose and who will win. There are many assassination squads, but so far only this one has been able to go to the battlefield. As their temporary guardian, Dion Wei is also a little worried that even the only squad will be lost. Fortunately, these people finally lived up to the training they had received over the past few months. They were very calm, waiting quietly for the best time, and did not act immediately because others ate meat. After a cup of tea, these other people finally had almost eaten. Their leader stood up and looked around, but saw nothing unusual. It's still early, so we should drive a little further, or at worst, sleep in the wild, and meet up with the young master as soon as possible. If we are bullied by other caravan members, something will happen to the young master if we are not around. The leader was talking about something that people from the Song dynasty couldn't understand. The other kitten people just nodded and didn't answer anything. They packed their baggage and started to follow. The assassination team gave each other a secret signal and slowly they dispersed their own people and formed a siege around the others, setting a trap unknowingly. In fact, the horses eating grain and grass on the side were also secretly drugged by them, and the dry food was all covered with soybean water. To know that soybeans can make horses feel jealous and uncomfortable in their stomachs. Although it is nothing on the surface, it will create the illusion of acclimatization and cause the horse to be unable to drive normally. There seems to be something wrong with our leader's horse. Soon the first kitten man who got on the horse realized something was wrong, but because the horse showed no signs of poisoning, he did not think that there was something wrong with the station at the first time. The leader and others gathered around to check after their respective horses. They realized that the horses themselves were not poisoned, but they were very uncomfortable. They were either vomiting or pulling things. They all felt a little strange why it was already the fourth day since they rushed there, and these horses just started they were acclimated. Before they could figure out what was going on with their codes, some people had already fallen. Bump, pound a euro. Several people fell straight to the ground without even bending their knees. This frightened the other kitten people. They quickly stepped forward to see what happened to their brothers. However, after checking, they found no abnormalities in their brothers' eyes and mouth. They were not Chinese medicine doctors, so they had no way to check the pulse. Being able to stick a silver needle into their people and see if they can wake them up. But this poison would not surface, so they couldn't wake up their brothers, and they didn't know why. Three Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 729. Among the others, only this leader was smarter. He immediately thought of his own people. Apart from the dry food they usually eat, only the food from this inn was just eaten. He immediately roared, led the other brothers away from the inn, pulled out the cold weapon he had been hiding, and stared at the people in the inn. "You people are so good at it that I didn't even notice it? You are just lying. What is your purpose? Are you trying to rob us? Are you bandits here?" The leader of the kitten people noticed something was wrong, but because he was not familiar with the people here, he could not tell which side these people pretending to be Yizhan were from. "You don't a Euro trademark T need to know where we come from." The captain of the assassination team roared and rushed forward. This roar also attracted the attention of most of the kitten people. They did not realize that the people who were really good at assassination had already come around behind them. The kitten people they rushed forward and started fighting with a few people from the assassination team who were serving as bait, but before they could make 5 moves, they were stabbed in the back by the people behind them. They wanted to resist at first, but they were attacked from the front and back, and their skills were not enough to deal with it. But the strong-tempered kitten people actually tried to die together, and also wanted to die with one of the members of the assassination team. I don't a Euro trademark T know when they had installed personal poison on their bodies, and it seemed that as long as the poison was broken casually, they would die together. The poison sac can release the poison, and those who touch the poison will die immediately. The poison sac is attached to their bodies, and it seems that their owners have no intention of letting these kitten people who come out to do things go back alive. These poison sacs are close to their bodies, which means that after they die, as long as someone comes forward to touch them, they will die with these other people. So now the kittens can pull the assassination team to death together. Even if Dian Wei, who was working as a bodyguard in the dark, was not aware of such a step, so when he went to save people, only 14 members of the assassination team survived. However, it was precisely because of his action that everyone in the assassination team survived. At the critical moment, he prevented the death of the kitten leader. After he knocked the man unconscious, the wind of his palm was so strong that all the poison sacs on his body were knocked away with one blow. Only after confirming that the leader had passed out, he allowed his men to assassinate him. The team tied up the man and gave the only living bag to Lu Feng. "Sir, I'm back." In the military camp, Lu Feng, who was checking the sand table, heard Dian Wei's voice outside and felt a little surprised. He didn't expect him to come back so quickly. "You came back in less than a day. Are those people so weak?" Lu Feng asked Dian Wei to come in, but he now expressed serious doubts about the strength of the kitten people. "Is the team he urgently trained so strong? Please tell me." The kitten people did not realize that the members of the team had already disguised themselves and ambushed there. From this point of view, the assassination team has been formed and must be able to carry out the mission. The first thing Dian Wei did when he came back was to report the good news. This also proves how powerful the scientific training method is. Even if it only takes a few months, it is enough. 3 Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 730. Lu Feng was also very satisfied with this good news from Dian Wei. At least it proved that his efforts over the past few months were not in vain. He had finally trained this group of weak Song soldiers into useful people. And it has once again proved what it means that true knowledge comes from practice. Without going to the battlefield, we will never know what role these people play. Another good news is that we successfully captured the leaders of these kittens alive. Unfortunately, it was not the assassination team who captured them alive, but me. Seeing Lu Feng so happy, Dian Wei then told the second piece of news. If there is a living survivor, the interrogation can be carried out. The only pity is that this assassination team has some shortcomings after all. After all, the assassination team's training time was too short and they lacked battlefield experience. I hope they can improve in the future. Lu Feng didn't say anything. This was expected. After all, it was the first time for the team to go to the battlefield. It was already very good to be able to achieve this. I feel ashamed of the young master, and I still ask him to punish me. Now that all the good news has been said, the next thing Dian Wei wants to say is the bad news. For those who lost their lives in the assassination team, he believes that it was his failure to detect in time that the other party used poison that led to the loss of talents in the assassination team, so he thinks that he must apologize. How is this going? Lu Feng asked. The kittens hid poison close to their bodies. This poison would kill anyone who touched it, but I failed to notice it, allowing the kittens to seize the opportunity and kill several members of the assassination team. I am incompetent. Who can kill all the people in the assassination team? Bring back. Dian Wei felt very guilty. He thought that since Lu Feng asked him to take the people out, he had the responsibility to bring everyone back. He seriously felt that he had not trusted His Majesty the Emperor. There are no immortals on the battlefield, let alone the assassination team, who are always in the most dangerous position. You have done nothing wrong. It is better to say that only by letting these people see blood can they know what growth is. What do you do? Very good, I want to reward you. Lu Feng stepped forward and patted Dian Wei on the shoulder, telling him not to care about such trivial matters. Only soldiers who have truly seen the blood of their enemies and the blood of their brothers can truly grow. After that, he took General Kui next to him. The good wine he prepared was placed in Dian Wei's hand and he was asked to take the good wine away as a reward. You've been with me for so long, and you haven't had a drink for a long time, right? This wine is your reward, but you are not allowed to drink it casually before going to the battlefield. In order to please Lu Feng, General Kui went to the nearby people to find the best wine brewed from grain, and delivered it to Lu Feng's camp in person. Lu Feng was a person who didn't like drinking very much, so he could just drink it. This thing was given to Dian Wei as a reward, and wine was good for generals. However, he had to sternly warn Dian Wei that he was never allowed to drink before going to the battlefield. I still remember that there was a certain thing in the book he read before. A mentally retarded station commander underestimated the enemy before and went to the battlefield in a drunken state, but was killed by the opponent. Lu Feng would never allow such mentally retarded behavior among his subordinates. I thank your Majesty for your grace, and I will never act recklessly. Dian Wei was very happy to receive Lu Feng's reward. How dare he ask for anything else? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Three Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 731. After receiving the reward, Dian Wei quickly retreated. Lu Feng was alone in the camp, thinking about what kind of means the leader would use to get him to tell everything. Soon Lu Feng had someone call Zhao Yun in. The kitten man Dian Wei just brought back, what means do you think can be used to make him betray his hometown? Lu Feng wanted Zhao Yun to take charge of this matter. Zhao Yun was very measured in his actions. Even if he was tortured to extract a confession, others would not die so easily. But Dian Wei's actions were not serious. He might have beaten others to death as soon as he took action. Got it? I think it is impossible to extract a confession through torture. It is better for me to go to Khitan, arrest all his family members, and threaten him with his family members in front of him. Maybe I can get information. Zhao Yun rubbed the back of his head and couldn't think of any useful method. But as a soldier, he knew very well how difficult it is to make a soldier treason. Extorting a confession through torture may not be a good way to solve everything. There are no secrets in this world that cannot be told. If there are secrets, it must be because the chips given are not enough. Go tell the kitten man that you can give him anything he wants and let him tell him what he knows. Come out. Lu Feng smiled. He didn't expect that Zhao Yun would no longer use torture to extract confessions, but in a certain respect it was a sign of progress. But never forget that except for people like him who use golden fingers, they can get 100 except 4% of loyalty, the loyalty of others is all lies. If the kitten did not agree at the beginning, it can only prove that what was given was too little and he was not satisfied. People's hearts are greedy and have no desires. People, those are legendary saints. And so-called saints will make mistakes sometimes, not to mention these are just kittens working at the bottom. Yes, I will do it now. Zhao Yun understood the meaning of his words and immediately went down to fight with the kitten man both softly and hard on. This kitten man can be considered a tough guy. As Zhao Yun and Lu Feng expected at first, no matter how you tortured him to extract a confession, he didn't speak either. Zhao Yun later told the kitten man that if he could surrender, he could be given a position in the army and have endless access to beautiful women, gold, silver, and jewelry. The kitten man was immediately tempted, and he struggled. He asked Zhao Yun if he wanted more, if Zhao Yun could satisfy him. Zhao Yun laughed loudly. Sure enough, people are greedy, so he agreed to this. Others, even if he wants a beautiful woman every day, he can. As expected, the kitten was tempted, and he promised to tell Zhao Yun everything he knew, as long as he had a wife and children, and endless money. Zhao Yun went to choose a good-looking one among the military prostitutes without saying a word. The woman gave it to him and told him that she would be his wife from now on, and he could hold the woman and play songs every night. The kitten people were so excited that they immediately told Zhao Yun everything. Even the kitten people recently told Zhao Yun everything. The military operations of Zhao Yun were also told in full. If it weren't for the fact that he was not of a high enough level to know more advanced things, I am afraid that he would even be willing to tell Zhao Yun exactly where their great Khan was now, and it would be absolutely impossible for him to lie. 3 Kingdoms, I have a job transfer palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 732. Zhao Yun stopped talking nonsense with him and immediately took the information given by this person to report to the military camp where Lu Feng was located. Young master, he is the leading intelligence force of the kittens. At this time, the kittens have gathered and the soldiers are heading towards us. They seem to want to launch a war against the Song dynasty. It turns out that the kittens are causing trouble this time. They want some scarce supplies recently, and these scarce supplies are in the Song dynasty. In the past, as long as they launched a war, even without spending a single soldier, the emperor of the Song dynasty would immediately all the things were given away. So this is what they plan to do this time. They gathered a total of less than 10,000 troops, just to scare the emperor of the Song dynasty in front of him. When the things arrived, they would immediately withdraw with the troops. These intelligence vanguards are to spy on the Song dynasty. Have they gathered troops to attack other countries recently? If the Song dynasty is at war with Xixia, Jin Kingdom, or other countries at this time, then the possibility of them stabbing them in the back will increase. Bigger, then they will not only want the scarce materials, but also the land of the Song dynasty. If the Song dynasty is in peace, then they will just put these troops out to scare others and leave after taking things. This is also the kitten's usual method, because in the eyes of everyone, the Song dynasty is just a weakling. As long as they say what they want, the emperor of the Song dynasty will give it to them. It is a pity that the kittens thought wrong this time. No matter what they wanted, they should not take away a grain of rice from the Song dynasty. Lu Feng sneered. They thought that the Song dynasty was the Song dynasty of the past. As long as he came to this world, no one else could even think of bullying the Han people. What the young master is saying is, what should we do next? Zhao Yun asked, since 10,000 people are approaching now, should they also be prepared to fight back? You see, these people are able to come to the neighborhood because the roads here are familiar to them, and their original intention is not to fight, but to spy on the military situation, so they will definitely take the official road here, and we will prepare here. The men and horses ambushed him and caught him off guard. Lu Feng pointed to a bright and open road on the sand table. It was a pipeline built by the Song dynasty. There was nothing around it except dense plants, but it was the best bunker for an ambush. And in a place like this, there is no need to prepare infantry or heavy armor, as long as a large number of cavalry and archers are deployed in the forest, it is enough. Let the kittens take this road in their own right, and the archers are ready to release arrows at any time. After they release arrows, the cavalry will proceed. In a flat ground charge, these unprepared kittens will be beaten to a pulp. You must know that the power of the cavalry on the plain road is irresistible by any type of arms. Even the fully armed heavy armored soldiers dare not resist. Resist the cavalry on the flat ground. What's more, the kittens who gathered quietly this time did not have such good equipment. They were just infantry with minimal equipment, and the armor on their bodies was not as strong as the armor sent to send troops. A volley of archers would probably half of the kitten people will be declared dead. In this case, there will be cavalry to repair the injuries. If these 10,000 people can return alive, it will be a miracle.